All right, let's talk about Active Directory. If you're in IT support, this is your world. And if you've ever felt a little lost trying to figure out why a user can't log in or access a file, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to clear all that up right now.
Oh yeah, this ticket, I bet you've seen this one 100 times. It's probably one of the most common issues you'll ever have to deal with. A user is completely stopped, they can't work, and they need you to fix it fast. So what's really going on behind this error?
And that really is the question, isn't it? When a user is locked out, the pressure's on. But if you have a solid grasp of Active Directory, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll have a roadmap to not only fix the problem, but to actually understand why it happened. So, to solve the problem, we first need to understand the tool itself. What exactly is Active Directory? Let's just forget the complicated technical definitions for a minute. The easiest way to think about it is as the gatekeeper, the digital bouncer for your entire company.
Okay, now for the official textbook definition. It's a hierarchical directory service. Now that word, hierarchical, that's the key. It just means everything is organized in a logical structure, like a big filing cabinet. It keeps track of everything, all the users, all the computers. And its two biggest jobs are authentication and authorization.
And that brings us to these two concepts. You have to know the difference. Authentication is simply Active Directory asking, are you really who you say you are? It's just checking your username and password. Once it says, okay, yep, that's you, then authorization kicks in. Authorization asks, great, now that I know who you are, what are you allowed to do? It's that simple, and it's the foundation of everything.
So we know AD is organized, but how? Well, the best analogy is to think of it like your company's digital org chart. It's a top-down structure that makes managing thousands and thousands of different objects, like users and computers, actually possible. So let's see what that looks like.
At the very, very top, you have the forest. That's the whole shebang, the entire environment. Inside the forest, you have domains, which are kind of like major departments. And then inside a domain, you have organizational units, or OUs. And these OUs are where you're going to spend most of your time. Think of them as folders. You might have an OU for the sales team, one for marketing, one for the New York office. It's all about keeping things neat and tidy.
And this slide really just lays it all out nice and simple. The forest contains the domain contains the OU, and inside that OU, that's where you'll find the user account you're looking for. Knowing this path, this flow, is going to help you find things so much faster. All right, so we've got the map. Now it's time for some real detective work. We need to look for clues that will help us solve these tickets. And those clues are almost always hidden in two places: a user's properties and their group memberships. Now, when you finally find a user and open up their properties, you're going to see a whole bunch of tabs. And here's the #1 tip for anyone in support: ignore most of them. 90% of the time, the answer you're looking for is right here on the Account tab. This is your mission control. So here's your mental checklist for this tab. First thing to check, is the account is disabled box checked? That's a common step when someone leaves the company. Second, and this is the one for our locked out user, you look for the unlock account checkbox. That's your quick fix. And third, it's always a good idea to just glance at the password never expires setting. That's usually a red flag for a normal user account.
So why do accounts even get locked? Well, it's a security feature. Most companies have a policy that looks something like this: 5 bad password attempts in about 2 minutes, and poof, the account is locked. This is to stop hackers, but honestly, it's usually triggered by the user's own phone in their pocket that's still trying to connect to Wi-Fi with an old password. Now let's talk about the other piece of the puzzle: groups. There are 2 main types, and confusing them is a classic rookie mistake. You have security groups and distribution groups. Security groups are for giving people permissions. They have a special code, a SID, that lets them access stuff. Distribution groups are only for sending emails to a list of people. You can't use them to secure a folder. Period. And honestly, this is the best way to think about it. Adding a user to a security group is literally like giving them a new set of digital keys. If a user says, hey, I can't get into the marketing folder, your job is to find the security group that holds the keys to that folder, and then just add the user to it. It really is that straightforward. Okay, so we've covered the what, the where, and the why. We get the AD structure, we know where to look in the user's account, and we understand what groups are for. Now let's put it all together and walk through step by step how to solve that locked account ticket. Here it is, the exact playbook. First, you open Active Directory users and computers. Quick pro tip, don't ever manually browse through all the OUs. Always use the Find button to search for the user directly. Right-click their name, go to Properties.
Go straight to that all-important Account tab. Check the little box that says Unlock Account, click OK, and you're done. The user can log in again. You're the hero.
But wait, before you close that ticket, just pause for a second. You fixed the immediate problem, which is great. But now, what does their Member Of tab tell you? Are they in the right groups for their current job? Do they have access to things they shouldn't? Taking an extra 30 seconds to look at their groups can help you predict and even prevent their next support ticket. And that is the difference between just fixing problems and truly managing your network. So, what are you going to look for next time?